Hey, hey. What's going on? All right, let's see. It looks like they have changed some things around here since I went live from my computer before. I just want to check and make sure that I have sound. I went live from my computer before. All right, it does. It looks like I have sound. Awesome. Keyframe. I don't know what that means. The current keyframe rate is too low. Oh, Lordy. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Okay, so, all right. As you are popping in, come in and say hi. Let me know where you are streaming in from. And I am going to do some show and tell here. And I'm going to show you, I think we should be fine. I'm going to be showing you some of the tools that I use when I do business planning. Some of them are obvious, like a planner, and some of them are actually not so obvious. And that's what I want to do here, because people are always asking me, like what I use when I do my business planning and so forth. So the first thing I want to do is I am going to, I'm actually going to show this a little bit later, but I wanted to get this open. It came in the mail last week and I haven't opened it yet. And this is my wall planner that I put on my office wall. I get it from Amazon. And it comes with like a little marker. I don't usually actually use that marker, and I'll explain why in a few moments. And so this is it. It's pretty big. And it goes on my wall, right on, I have a big open wall on the other side of my office here that I put it on. I know some people use their spare bedroom, some people use their dining room, some people use their kitchen as their home office. So whatever works for you, make it work for you. But I just want to go into what it looks like. So when I do my business planning, and if you are coming to the business planning workshop this Friday, these are some of the tools you can have with you that will help support you in the comfort of your own home while we're doing the business planning workshop. If you are not already registered for the business planning workshop, I'm going to put a link below for you to get your ticket. I'm going to grab it right here actually. And you can get your ticket here. And I type like I have dyslexia. I am not even kidding. I always need, this is why I have so many spelling mistakes, because my fingers move faster, or my brain moves faster than my fingers. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay, awesome. So here is what I do as part of my business planning. So the first thing I do when I do business planning, number one, is finding a really comfortable space in your home, whether it's your home office, it's a bedroom, a place where you can think clearly and not be interrupted. It's really important to try to do this type of work in an uninterrupted space, which is why I think it's so important to do it as a group, and why I offered the workshop, because so many people do not carve out the necessary time to sit and think about their goals and their plans for their business on purpose. Most people, January will start, and the next thing you know, it's the end of January, and you're trying to create goals and plans on the fly. And you don't want to do that, because any plans that you make on the fly are not going to work out in your favor as effectively, because you are making them from thought and from thinking that you're in a rush or you don't have time and you're doing it on the fly and I'll figure it out along the way. And figuring it out on the way is great, but when you sit and give yourself spaciousness and you give yourself groundedness, you can think more clearly and access your higher wisdom. So, besides a comfortable space, so sometimes when I do it by myself, I sit on the floor. I have like flip charts all over the floor. I have Post-it notes everywhere. I'm usually in my PJs. I'm all comfy cozy. But one of the things I bring is I always have a candle, and I will light a candle just to enhance the mood. The next thing that I bring, so I have the candle, is I bring a journal. So I always bring a journal. So in the business planning workshop, I will be asking you very specific questions. And so you'll want to have a journal that you can answer your questions in the journal. My recommendation is to have a new one so that you can kind of like start from scratch and start with a brand new journal for the new year. So of course mine is completely blank. I'm ready to go, ready to rock and roll. And okay, so you'll want a journal. Something else I also recommend having on hand is like a legal pad of some kind or scrap paper, just to jot down like quick things that maybe like if you're writing quickly that you don't want to put into the journal. I use this for things like if I'm writing down numbers or statistics or just like brain dumping before I want to commit my raw thoughts into my permanent thoughts. So that's always good to have on hand. Something else I like to use when I'm doing business planning is when you're in the phase and in the mode of planning, what happens is you'll have a lot of really great ideas, and you'll have really great ideas about what to do for your business, maybe ways that you want to expand, maybe things you want to implement. You'll have a cool idea, and sometimes we get an abundance of ideas, which is what we're hoping for. We're actually hoping to get an abundance of ideas for moving your business forward. And again, there are very specific questions I'm going to ask you in the business planning workshop that will help activate that part of your brain to think creatively in that way. And then what I like to do is I literally will use Post-it notes, and if I'm thinking about something more creative or things I want to try or things I want to do, I will write one idea per Post-it note on the notes, and I will literally like, so for example, one of the things that I am planning for that I want to do next year is host a live in-person event again. I have not done that since 2019. We all know why. And so I really want to bring community together again. So this is one of the top things that's on my idea list, is a live event. So what I would do is I would write live event, and then I have a space over there that I would normally put these Post-its, and then I'll just put the Post-its like somewhere near my space and get the thoughts and all of the ideas out of my head, so I can visualize them and look at them. And then when I see them, one idea on each place, I usually know which ones I want to gravitate towards first and which ones I might want to like maybe push off till like closer to the end of the year. So that is how and why I like to use Post-its. If you're coming on and you're just coming in now, or you're catching the replay, just say hi to me below in the comments. Let me say #replay. Let's see, I just want to make sure we are still happening. It looks like we are still going live. Awesome. Okay, so that's what the Post-its are for. And then once we start figuring out, like setting the goal and what that's going to look like, and then we start breaking down your goal into, we'll take your goal and we're going to basically break it down into projects. We pick 6 to 8 projects that you're going to work on in the next year, and then we break those projects down based on which are most important and which are going to create revenue faster for you. and we're going to talk this all out during the live workshop. And then we will then take your projects and break them down into quarters, into months, into weeks, and then into days. So a lot of people will tell me they have these big goals, and then I'll say, do you have a plan in place, or do you know what your plan is to hit your goal? And a lot of times people have plans, but they're not fully thought out, and they're not broken down into bite-sized pieces. So they might have a plan, and they'll say, I want to hire 3 new team members next year, which is great. That's more of a top-line plan. But then how are you going to break that down into smaller, achievable pieces, right? If expanding your business to another area is one of the big things that you want to focus on in the next year, what does that look like over the course of the year or a quarter or weeks or months? That's the work we're going to do together in the workshop. So what I use next, part of my business planning, is I always have a planner. And I have used multiple planners, and people always say, this planner's got too much, this planner's not got enough, this planner makes me confused. Look, it's not the planner that is too much, has too much space, not enough space, or makes you confused. It's really your intention and your decision to just use the planner that you buy. It's not the planner's responsibility to have you pick up a pen and write in it every day. It's your responsibility to pick up your pen and write in your planner every day. And just so you know, like, so some days, and I'm a really, really seasoned planner. I love making plans. I love writing out plans. I love making to-do lists. And the planner that I've been using this past year, there were like a week or two at a time where I just didn't write anything in the planner, and I was just working off of a piece of paper and just crossing off my list as I went. But I do know that I always feel more productive when I actually have a planner, because it's a great way to actually go back and support your habit and remind your brain that you're taking action when you put things in pen in your planner and then you do them. It's very rewarding. That's why we do this. That's why when you make a to-do list and then you go to the top, or even if in the middle of the to-do list you write 1 or 2 things that you've already done, it's so satisfying to check them off. So it's really amazing, and I like to actually go back and look at my planners at the end of the year, and I look at places where, look, I literally just opened up my planner, and I just found a note that my daughter stuck in here for me that I forgot about, and now I just found it again. It says, I love you and am proud of you always, love. So sometimes there's some special things inside your planners. And so I do love going back, because sometimes I will see things that I circled. So if I circle something in my planner, it's because I haven't done it yet and I need to move it to another day. So I'll like look at things and be like, oh, I circled that and I never actually finished that thing. Or I circled that and, oh, I remember deciding that that was something I no longer wanted to do. So it's really good to go back and also look at your planners, because also at the end of the year, when you are assessing the end of the year and what you've done or not done, what you've accomplished, not accomplished, maybe changes that you've wanted to make in your life that you didn't do or you did do, you know, it's always good to go back and see why or why not you created the results that you have in your life. So for example, if you run a business and your goal this year is to make 50K, and you are pretty much, quote unquote, we'll just say diligently using your planner and putting in your planner all the things that you do to grow your business, and you go back and there's a lot of blank empty pages, or there's only 1 or 2 things on a day throughout the year, then the reason, and you didn't hit your goal this year, that's actually an indication why. You're just not doing enough, or you're not doing enough of the right things, which again is what we're going to be talking about in the business planning workshop. So this year I got a planner from a new company. It's called the Day Designer. I like to have, they have smaller versions and they have the big version. The big version has it broken down in months, weeks, and days. And I like to look at things like that, in the specifically like day to day. And it came in like this really beautiful box. It just came yesterday, which was perfect for this video that I wanted to do. And so, oh, the big reveal. The big reveal. And so I picked, I think it's probably I think it's a Jaguar. And I just really fell in love with this design because to me it means bold, moving fast, taking action, like all the things. And so in here I will have, and then on like the months I will put down big key dates in the months. I won't put all the little things on there because I also use a digital calendar as well. But I am really a visual person, and seeing things in front of me are super helpful. And so then there are spots here where you have the top 3 things you're going to focus on for the day, which is something I also teach, which is great because it has the top 3 things I'm going to focus on today. So for example, if you were to look at my calendar today, the top 3 things that I'm focused on today was sending my emails, finishing my emails to go out to everyone to invite them for the workshop, inviting the people in the workshop into the Facebook group that we set up for them, and then doing the live video showing everyone behind the scenes some of the video I'm doing now. So those were the things that were my top 3 on today's day. And then there were other to-do items that were on there, but those were the top 3. Those were the 3 that were most important to move the needle forward to hit goals that I have set for myself. And then this one's also really cool because it has some beginning of the month spots and end of the month spots and places for you to set goals. I haven't even really fully gone through this one all the way, but there's like an ideal month, like what your time would look like ideally. And because of course we all need to pick a schedule that's really important to us that will work with our lifestyle, because not everybody has the same schedule. And this one's super cool because it has stickers. Which I've bought planners with stickers before and never actually used them. This year I am intending on using them. So that is the planner. So then when I sit down and do my business planning work, and then I know what my big projects are, that's how when I know what the big projects are every month, then I will break them down to weekly and break them down to daily, and then I will know what are the things that need to go on that daily 3 list every day. Okay. Then what I do is then I have, again, so I showed this to you already, this is the big wall calendar. And I'll also put a link below. I have like an Amazon shop. There are some things that I recommend. So there's the wall calendars on there, the business planners on there, some things that I use every year, and I just kind of put them in like a quote-unquote storefront, and they're right there on that list, and I'm going to put a link to that below as well. And if you are interested in that planner or in the wall calendar, the link will be right there, and you can just go look at that link. So I use that calendar also so that I always have like a bird's eye view of the big things. So the calendar on my wall is not super granular. It doesn't have like the 3 things I do every day, but I use it as more the big picture items, so I can see, you know, in December this is what's happening, or in February this is what's happening, or in March I'm away on vacation, or I'll put vacations on my calendar, and important dates for the family, right? Because those are the things that should really go on your calendar first. I also use a color coding system for my wall calendar, and it actually coordinates with my Google, whether you use Google or Outlook. I use Outlook, but I also coordinate the colors that I use on my digital calendar with my wall calendar. And what I mean by that is I use different color markers for my wall calendar, and those are I use different color appointment colors. I assign a different appointment color for different colors inside my digital camera, and they coordinate. So if I look at them, I know exactly what the details are of those appointments on my calendar. So for example, on my computer calendar, I use yellow for family. Anything that's family related or personal related, so if I have a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, my chiropractor appointment, those are all in yellow. If the kids have something going on, that is in yellow. So anything that's family goes in yellow. Now, because I don't have a yellow marker for my wall calendar, I actually will use brown for yellow on my wall calendar. So if you look up, you will see the family vacations, everybody's birthdays, those are all in brown on my big wall calendar. And my one daughter, she loves to do this part. Her handwriting is super neat, and so I sit here and I read it all off to her from my computer, and she writes it all in on the calendar for me. Super fun. The next color that I use, and I stick with me because this is kind of important because I want to show you a distinction that I do that not a lot of people do. So orange, wall calendar. So wall calendar, I don't use it as much, but on the digital calendar, orange is for desk work. So desk work might be phone calls. It might be having a meeting. It's just like quote unquote desk work. It's not stuff that is necessarily moving the needle of my business forward. It might be checking emails. It might be cleaning up some digital files. It's just like quote unquote desk work. Red, so I use red for clients because it's like red stop. It's very visual. So this would be for client appointments. This was really important when I was still running my local business and I was in the field doing the work. So in that case, those things were in red because they were important, right? So red, so any big events that I would do for clients, like there have been times, so we have two wrapping events coming up the week after next. And so those are actually on my wall calendar in red because they consume 2.5 full days. So that's how I use that. And then green, so this is the most important color you're going to want to use. And this is how you know how much marketing you have been doing. Is you use green. Green, the color of money, is what I use for money generating activities. Money generating activities was a term that I learned from my very first business coach, and she would tell us that we had to do 3 money generating activities a day, and it actually took me a bit of time. It took me, I hate to say, probably a couple years to actually understand what she meant by money generating. So I would put things on my calendar like send an invoice to my client Brian. So to me, that was money generating. I quickly realized later on that that actually was not money generating because the invoice was money that I had already generated. So in that case, that invoice would be desk work. So green is all the things that you are doing in your business, the marketing activities that you are doing, where you are putting yourself out there in front of people, having conversations, connecting with people, networking, coffee dates, follow-ups, one-on-ones, all the things that you need to be doing, those go in green. And these are the ones that end up transferring from your digital calendar, if you use a digital calendar, into your day planner that are your top 3 things. The top 3 things that you have to do every day, the top 3 activities of your day should always be money generating activities. Now, sometimes your money generating activities also need to, so let me go back on that. Money generating activities are the actions that you're going to take to generate money. But we also need to have time in our calendars proactively where we're also minding and mining our minds for what we're thinking on a daily basis before we even take action on the 3 things. And so I teach a process inside our Fully Booked Business Club about mining our thoughts to recognize the thoughts that are driving us forward in a productive way, or if our thoughts are driving us forward in an unproductive way. And then I have 2 other colors that I use personally with the coaching that I do. And purple is coaching that I do for people, right? So if I'm running a Fully Booked Business Club, or this Friday we have the business workshop, or 100K Club, or other workshops that I do, those are all in purple. Those are, and I have a couple people who do one-on-one coaching with me. Those people are all in purple on my calendar. And then things where I get coached and where I learn are in pink. Because if you are coaching, you should actually be being coached. So that is how I use the color coordinating. And then, of course, if you have any questions about that at all, go ahead and you can put it in the comments. And if you come back and catch the replay, you can let me know in the replay also. And then the last thing, so those are like most of the quote-unquote tools that I use. Now, of course, I have a digital online camera. I'm sorry, an online calendar. I use an online project management software, but you don't really need that until you've already been generating, you know, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a year. And then you might want to start bringing things over into your business where you're creating systems in your business, and that's where you would want to have like an online project management software. And there are a ton of free ones available. I use Asana. I teach the members of my 100K Club how to use Asana as well, to set up systems and things that are like reoccurring, including their marketing, including their money generating activities, which is one of the greatest benefits of being part of our program, is because I teach you how to not have to always be thinking about this. Like when you open your computer in the morning or you wake up in the morning, like, what am I going to do today? You've made all those decisions in the beginning of the year, which is again why the business planning workshop is so valuable. So that's that. And then the last little thing that I do, and this is a little bit woo-woo, and this might be something that your flavor, and it might not be something your flavor. But after I do all of the heavy, like, thinking and journaling and visualizing and creating with my mind and what I want to create and what I want to do to create the outcomes that I want to create, I also then sit down and I use angel cards. So some people use tarot cards. I've heard them called tarot or tarot, and some people use angel cards. I love angel cards, and I will pull certain cards. I will do I do a reading for myself where I will pull all the cards for like a 1-year reading, and something like this. And then I put the cards out, and then I'll read the cards and read the insights that the book gives me, and then I will journal on each of those aspects. And it's really beautiful when I do that in the front of my journal, because at the end of the year, when I go back and look at the year ahead, it's amazing to go back and then see what I wrote when I drew my cards. I also have a dear friend, Laura Clark, and she does oracle readings for me every year in December, and where I basically 1 card per month, and she gives me a reading, and I look at those every month, sometimes periodically through the month, especially if I'm having a hard month. I like to go back to them because it's just a reminder that I am more than just the human flesh that you see here. I am also part of spirit, part of the universe, and those readings really do help me. So if you have any other questions about some of the things that I use for my business planning, just go ahead and you can put it in the comments, and when I will come back later and I will respond to you any of your questions that are in the comments. If this video was helpful, also let me know that. Are you a digital planner person or are you a paper planner person? I'd love to know that too. Are you a freak of nature like I am that has color coordinated systems? Okay, I'm going to let you in on a secret that I don't tell many people, and I'm telling the entire Facebook community right now. But I am also a little bit of a freak of nature, and I actually have different colored legal pads that coordinate with my markers. So for example, my family to-do list is on a yellow legal pad. I never put a family to-do list on the white legal pad. It's always on the yellow one, because this way I keep business and life separate. All right. I feel like I just bared my soul there. All right, my friends, hopefully this video was helpful. I'll put those links for the supplies in there as well. And here is to your business planning. See you soon. Bye.